Full council present tonight, Councilman Wendell Gubler, Councilman Denny Drake, Councilman Jarrett Waite, Councilwoman Nina Mathis, and Councilman Ben Shakespeare are all here. We appreciate that. We'd like to begin the meeting with an opening ceremony and pledge of allegiance. We've asked Councilman Shakespeare to lead us in that. Would everyone please rise and salute the flag?
Our Father in heaven, we give thanks this evening to meet as a city to discuss the topics at hand. We're grateful for this area in which we live, for the abundance we've enjoyed, and for the peace and tranquility we enjoy daily. We're grateful for this great nation, ask a blessing upon it, that peace may preside, and that we ask a blessing upon this meeting, that we may address the issues at hand and do so peacefully. And we say these things humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Ben. Do we have anyone who has come to address the council tonight on an item that's not part of the agenda? Brock, have you seen any communications? Okay, is this meeting on, it's just YouTube and not Zoom, right?
Oh, it is. It's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom. There's nobody on Zoom to.
We have Mark Anderson from Zions Bank Public Finance with us.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, conflicts and disclosures. Council, do you have any conflict of interest with any of the items that are on the agenda tonight that you need to disclose before we begin the meeting?
I will disclose for items C1 and C3 that I'm employed by Zions Bank.
Okay, so noted. Thank you, Lena. Any others? Having none, we'll go ahead and move forward with the agenda. We move into the working agenda. We do have a public hearing. This is a public hearing regarding the issuance and sale of not more than $4 million aggregate principal amount of electric revenue and refunding bonds, Series 2021, and any potential economic impact of the project is to be financed with the proceeds of that portion of the bonds issued under the act may have on the private sector and related matters. Brock, are you doing it, or is?
Yeah,
okay.
I'll do it, and Mark is here for any questions or any additional information. This is the public hearing that we set forth back in January when we adopted the parameters resolution for the refunding of the 2012 and 2017 electric bonds, and also the issuance of roughly $1.2 million of new money for purchase of a new 2.5 megawatt generator at the generation building. So we're having the public hearing to receive any public comment on public feelings on issuance of that 1.2 million and the refunding of those current electric bonds. We are refunding the 2012 is roughly $824,000. The 2017 is $3,029,000, and then also the 1.2 million, which will be refunding the refunding. If remember correctly, they're going to stay on their same amortization schedule. So those two bonds will still pay off at their current time in 2026 and 2028. And then the new money, I believe, pays off in 2031. So the interest rate that Zions at time is quoted is 1.38%. So we're reducing our rate from on the 2012, it's a 3.67 rate. And on the 2017, it's the rate doesn't stay the same. Currently the rate that we have right now in 2021 is 1.9, but in 2026, it would be up to just over 3%. So it slowly increases as the life of the bond continued on. So the average would be about 2.9% on that interest rate on the 2017. So, but as it sets forth in this, caps it at 4 million. If there's anything came out, that's what the parameters resolution set forth, no more than 4 million. So we have on that.
Okay. Mark, anything to add from your end?
I think Brock's covered it well. The council just needs to accept public comment. There's no action that the council actually needs to take. The parameters resolution authorized the mayor and recorder and or Brock to execute the bonds if they're within the parameters already adopted by the council, if the council deems they want to continue moving forward with this financing.
Thank you, sir. Okay, with that lead in, I would open the public hearing and ask anyone who has come to address the council on this item, give them the opportunity to come to the mic and state your piece. Okay, not seeing anyone coming and nobody is on Zoom. Question, comment?
Nothing receiving.
Okay, then we will go ahead and close that public hearing, council, and go down to item 5B in the consent agenda. This is approval of the claims and minutes. Minutes from January 27th, 2021, the minutes from February 3rd, 2021, city council meeting and work meeting minutes, and claims through February 10th. You've got the calendar of events there in front of you as well. And so council, if they need to address this one separately, anybody willing to make a motion to approve the consent agenda? Or any questions about the minutes or the claims?
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Jarrett and a second by Wendell to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any question on that motion? You see, this is a money item. Roll call. Ben?
Aye.
Rena?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Benny?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Under item C1, on general business, consider approval of the issuance and sale of not more than 4 million aggregate principal amounts, electric revenue and refunding bonds, series 2021, and any potential economic impact of the project to be financed with the proceeds of that portion of the bonds issued under the act may have on the private sector and related matters. Brock?
Yeah, so actually, as Mark stated, I believe this item doesn't need the approval. So this item really just can be tabled, doesn't need to have the action.
Okay.
Since we adopted the parameters resolution and had the public hearing is what we really need to do. We don't need the,
So we don't need any
Actual
formal action by the council on this one?
no.
Okay, all right. Okay, item number C2, consider approval of request for construction access to his property through city right-of-way on Country Lane to the Sand Hollow Wash. Property location is 610 Country Lane. Applicant is Mr. Bob Lamoureux. Corey?
Yes, this request is for city right-of-way access. If Rock can pull up that map. Off of Country Lane, Bob Lamoureux lives at 610. He's building a pool in his backyard. What's pictured here, the long green one is Bob Lamoureux's property boundary. He has one neighbor to the north, which he has reached out to and got permission to cross the rear of his lot to the back of Bob's lot, as long as he leaves it in the same condition when he's done. We've got a letter stating that. And the easement there, he's picked up an encroachment permit from the city. Bob knows and has agreed to keeping all the tracking off of Country Lane. Is there another picture in there?
That's the encroachment permit and
Okay.
the encroachment permit and the letter from his neighbor stating his permission to use access from across his property.
So with that, staff has reviewed it. As long as he's not going to track out there, he's got the property owner's permission and he leaves the right of way in good condition, doesn't track out on Santa Clara Drive. That means putting down some kind of type 2 or gravel so he doesn't track out. That's what it needs to happen. Any questions?
With those conditions. Well, just a couple of things, Council. Bob's trying to build a pool in his backyard, right, Bob? So on the west side of your existing fence there. This is just a lot easier for him to access this way than try and come at it from the front of the house. And just so council knows, this process, Bob's the guinea pig in this process because he's the first one. But as a result of some of the problems we had up on the west side of the heights with using city property to access their private property, the staff has put together a process to where if they want to do that, they have to go to TRC. They have to prepare a map showing what they want to do. They have to get permission from any private property owners between the city property and their property. And then they have to do an encroachment permit to enter the city property so we can monitor who's responsible if there's any tracking or stormwater issues out there. So I appreciate Bob's patience working through this. It'll be a little easier going forward if other property owners want to do it, but fairly straightforward. Bob, anything you want to add? Okay. All righty, council, questions for Corey or the applicant?
I have one question. The conditions that the neighboring homeowner has indicated, I mean, I think they're fairly easily met, but should something go wrong and there ends up being some problem to the back of his property as a result of a truck that, I don't know, gets stuck or whatever, worst case scenario, is the city, what involvement is the city in and then trying to help with any disputes? Do we have any liability? Is there any, given that the neighboring homeowner's property is conditioned based on his approval?
I'm an attorney down there.
He'll be here. But
I mean, it could be a civil issue, property owner versus property owner. He's given permission if he doesn't follow the terms. The encroachment permit, and this is where I'd like to ask Matt, if we have, and maybe Corey, you know, if we have a problem with a applicant on an encroachment permit, a city encroachment permit, what leverage does the city have to correct the problem, make the applicant correct the problem?
Other than stop the work that's progressing.
But in this case where the works, I mean, if he damaged the city right away, if they left material in the right of way or something like that, do we have any leverage to go back on the applicant? I know it, like in an encroachment permit, you can put a stop work on the project they're doing it for, or a building permit or a CO or something that way. Is there any other leverage there? They're not bonding for it or anything that way, right?
No, there was just a $50 fee to get the encroachment permit. We monitored it. If they're going outside the city's regulations for encroachment permits, we just talk to the applicant and tell him either correct it or stop work until he does correct it.
It's probably gonna be a civil matter between the two properties unless they violate some kind of an ordinance or a law, something else. The tracking the mud out in the street is an ordinance violation with SWIP. We could do something there, possibly some fines. But the damage to the private property is probably be between the parties.
So we would probably want to acknowledge that we received receipt of the letter that the homeowner has stated, but not the conditions, because we're not going to necessarily
Right.
monitor the conditions.
I think that'd be smart. We do have that letter. Yeah, we've got the letter. It's just include in the motion. Probably reference that so that it's on the record. Any other questions?
Just a comment. In this case, there would be a pool permit. So obviously there's a final inspection that would require,
That's true.
you know, the staff could, look at the street and be sure that things are cleaned up and done.
Yeah, we could ask the property owner, the adjacent property owner, before we give him, is there a CO with the Pearl permit or
Yes.
pool permit? Before you get the CO for the Pearl permit, maybe ask the property owner that you cleaned it up. That's a good idea.
Just sign off on it or something.
That gives us a little leverage that way.
They signed a construction agreement and we have $500 that they'll maintain the project and clean it up. So before CO, we can make that happen.
In some cases, we wouldn't have that. In a case of building a pool, you've got a application and pool. If someone was just going back, if Bob was going back just to enhance the backyard landscape, there really wouldn't be a permit on something like that. So it may be something to look at. The question's good as, this one, I think it would be covered with the permitting, but.
Good point.
On the encroachment permit, where it's on a different property owner where they're coming into access, does that cover the concrete sidewalks and curb? If they break that out, that's part of the encroachment permit,
Yeah.
right?
Other questions, council? Not, then I'd look for a motion.
I move that we approve the ROW for Mr. Lamro with the conditions that have been talked about and the letter that he's received from the property owner, making all efforts to keep the roadway clean and the encroachment as minimal as possible.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Denny, second by Ben. Any question on the motion?
But we're not including the neighbors' conditions, correct?
I did. It was in, he mentioned the neighbor's conditions. Be part of that. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, roll call. Ben?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Permits granted. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Appreciate your service on Heritage Committee too. You're the chairman now, right? Hey, lucky man. Okay. Item number 3, consider adopting the parameters resolution 2021-05R outlining the refunding of the 2012 Cache Valley Bank sales tax bond and the 2019 CIB sales tax bond, authorizing the issuance and the sale of not more than 2.25 million aggregate principal amount of sales tax revenue refunding bonds, series 2021, the bonds, fixing the maximum aggregate principal amount of the bonds, the maximum number of years over which the bonds may mature, the maximum interest rate which the bonds may bear, and the maximum discount from par at which the bonds may be sold, delegating to certain officers of the issuer the authority to approve the final terms and provisions of the bonds within the parameters set forth herein. Brock?
All right, so this is, as stated there, parameters resolution, just like we did previously on the electric refunding. This is for the $2.1 million we got from the CIB for the Chapel Street Bridge at a 2.5% interest rate, and it was for 20 years. And we have Cache Valley was originally Village Bank for purchase of some land up by the old fort that we did. A small was $135,000 bond. That was set to expire not till 2042. And so with this refunding, we're combining those two sales tax bonds together. Becomes about 2.232 million. Now the interest rate as I said, on the CIB is 2.5. On the land purchase was 2%. The projected rate that right now from Zions is 1.7. We also are reducing the length of them. So the CIB will be reduced by 4 years and the land purchase will be cut by 6 years. So they will be coming off, be paid off in 2036. So we're reducing that down, they said, from 2040 and 2042 down to 2036. It does increase our annual payment by about $20,000, $23,000 a year, but we'll get those paid off a little bit quicker, better interest rate. So but it is a parameters resolution just setting forth, as the mayor read in the description, just setting forth the parameters of the interest rate, length, and the amount, and authorization of people to sign. So And Mark Anderson's still with us if you have any other questions for him.
See, council, do you have any questions? Lower interest rate, shorter payoff period.
Yeah, exactly what we want.
Yeah. Okay. If there aren't any questions or comments, council, I'd look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the parameters resolution 2021-05R, refunding the sales tax bond.
I'll second.
A motion by Lena and a second by Jarrett to adopt the parameters resolution 2021-05R, outlining the refunding of the sales tax bonds as presented and discussed. Any question on that motion, council? If there are any questions, this is a money item. All in favor, Wendell?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate your help with this.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure working with Santa Clara City. Brock's great to work with, as well as the rest of the staff. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 4, consider approving a special declaration of Santa Clara City regarding House Bill 278. This is the proposed name change process for Dixie State University. Rob?
Yeah, so this came to the mayor and as a request for support. There was a discussion the work meeting last week about bringing it forward this week for a discussion of possible approval. But House Bill 278 generally outlines the process for the Dixie State University Board of Trustees in consultation with Utah Board of Higher Education to recommend a new name for Dixie State. This declaration would oppose that bill to leave the name Dixie in the name of the university. So it'll just be the council either moving forward to say they support the opposition of House Bill 278, and they could approve this declaration, or choose not to and not support that opposition for the name change.
I spoke to him today. It's in committee. It's supposed to be going to the Senate at some point in time.
Yeah, it passed the House today.
House to House, and I think they passed it onto the committee, some kind of a joint resolution committee or something.
I'm not sure on that, but yeah, it was voted on today.
But they've asked for our support. Council's indicated they might be willing to do so. So there's the resolution, council. Thoughts, comments?
I vote yay.
Got a motion?
That's a motion. That we pass a special declaration in the city of Santa Clara regarding House Bill 278, name change process for Dixie State University by opposing the name change.
Okay.
Second it.
Got a motion by Denny and a second by Wendell to approve the declaration of the city as presented. Any question on that motion or comments?
I think I would just comment, following kind of what our legislators did today, just stating that we need to slow down this process and look at it a little more closely, maybe have a little more local control. And that's what this is saying as well. Just let's reject this bill and then we'll work on it later.
Comment. Any other comments, council?
I would, again, I'm in support of what's been said as well. I sat in those meetings when the rebel was discussed, and I think many of us were there, and it was stated multiple times that Dixie was never a part of the removal process, that it was only the rebel. Again, I agree with what's been said. I agree with what Jarrett said, that let's put some thought into this. This is decades and decades of, where do we draw the line? And so put some thought into preserving what preserves the history of this area. This has never been a racial topic of any part. if you read back through the history. So to look at it where both sides can see it and come up with what's right for all parties, I think I do agree that we need to slow this down because it needs to be thought through. There's a lot that are deciding on this that have very little to do with Southern Utah, that are making decisions regarding the name of the university.
Thank you, Ben. Any other comments, council? Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the special declaration. Let's do roll call. All in favor? Ben?
Aye.
Rena?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Benny?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
The declaration passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
May I make a comment too?
Absolutely.
As Ben mentioned, there are ramifications to this that are far beyond the name Dixie and the university. I have a mother-in-law whose first name is Dixie, that is not from this area. I don't think her name was racially biased in being given to her. I'm sure SUU recognizes that they have a new building that was $9 million donated by Dixie Levitt. So are they going to change that name to accommodate, though it's nothing to do with racial slur? How far do we take this? So I think what Ben has stated is true, and anybody that went through the process, even the process that we've been talked to by the president of the college, he circumvented the things that he told the group and has moved forward without any representation other than those with him. So to me, this is just a slowing of the process, we hope.
Okay, thank you. Item 5 is consider approval of the wastewater impact fee calculation method, the ERU meter size. Jack?
Yeah, me and the mayor were working together on our impact fees, looking at some calculations, and he asked the question, where is your chart that shows the number of ERUs if you go above a 3/4 inch meter to a 1 inch or even larger? And I says, well, I got that from the engineers, and it's just a simple calculation on how much flow can go through a 3/4 inch meter and how much flow can go through a 1 inch meter. And as they increase, you get more flow. And then that's how we've calculated the ERU. And he says, well, we need to make sure that we have that chart approved. And so tonight, I'm just bringing this chart to the council for your approval, so that it's something we've been using, but it just wasn't in our impact fee study on a page showing the chart. And so we just need to approve it. It's what we've been using. It goes right along with our fees and the way our impact fees are calculated. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
Doesn't come up very often, council. Most of the meter sizes that the city puts in are the 3/4 inch, which is 1 ERU. So it does come into play when someone puts in a larger meter, a larger than 3/4. So that's why I just wanted to make sure that it was included as part of the impact fee study. Any questions for Jack? Comments?
I think it's very good to have that in front of people so they don't have to worry about contacting you. They can figure their own out as they are checking on their application. So that's very good.
Okay.
No other comments? I'd look for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the wastewater impact fee calculation method as presented.
Second.
A motion by Ben and a second by Lena to approve the wastewater impact fee calculation method as presented. Any question on that motion? This is a money item. Roll call. Ben?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Danny?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Thank you, council. It passes unanimously. Item number 6, mayor and council reports. Ben?
Oh, I promised something, didn't I, last time? Let's see. I didn't go fishing. Mayor, I don't have anything.
That's perfectly fine.
Oh, good.
Well, you know-
Next one I will though, so.
Want me to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. First, I guess I'll start with the fair. I did hear back from Lucy, sorry, it's been a long day. Susie Lafayette, how you say her name. And she says she hasn't had a chance to get out to the cities yet because they've been scrambling with the date change for the fair. So she was appreciative that I had reached out to her. They still do want some city exhibits this year. They are spotlighting Hilldale. But if there's anything we can do to participate, she would welcome it. So I don't know if we want to try and throw something together or if we just want to say there's not enough time and
Council?
Well, we could take an apple tree branch and a peach tree branch, display the leaves, you know.
Yes, moving the fair to the spring. And it changes it a little bit. And they're not doing like seed displays or anything.
they're not doing seed displays. Correct.
So you lucked out this year.
I may have. It's in 64 days. So if we're gonna
It's coming
if we're gonna
fast.
do something, I would need to know
I
sooner
think we'll
than.
just support them with our presence and our applause.
I'd say if we had 65 days, it would be a go for
Yeah,
sure.
if we had another 3 or 4 days.
64 just does not give us the time.
Okay, sweet. That made my life really easy this year. Okay. And then next, Brock might have more because I wasn't able to attend one meeting since I was gone. But I did follow up on a couple of legislative bills to see what was happening with them that we've been concerned about. The first one was HB 98, which is the building regulations that impacts the inspections and things like that. And it is still in committee. Nothing has happened to it since February 1st. And then House Bill 82, which was the ADU modifications for single family units. It did go, Representative Dunnigan issued a second substitute yesterday, and it was not adopted. So now it's gone for a third substitute. There isn't a reading scheduled yet on the calendar, but his wording change was to allow municipalities to set their own parameters, and that was not approved. So sounds like Representative Ward, I think it is playing a little bit of hardball.
Yeah, in LPC on Monday, the league changed their position from oppose to neutral. And there's a committee that's been put together to negotiate and work with Representative Ward. And it seems what they said is if we stayed in opposition, like anything that we were trying to get, it was gone off the table and he was just gonna really force this. And so they chose to change to neutral and hope that he will soften as well and try to work with the league and municipalities to come to a compromise on this bill, because it's consensus across municipalities as it is they really are not in favor of this. So we'll see where it goes from here, but that's a change that did happen with LPC on that as well.
And I think that is my report.
Thank you, Leah. Appreciate that. Jared?
I will note that Lena did a great job last year at the fair, so it turned out really well. So we can for sure just use that as,
She said she'd
You
go
did 2
down to
years worth of
Swiss
work.
Days this year and do another one.
We could actually throw it up again. I still have the whole display in my yard.
in terms of reports, I did receive an email from Ann Evans. She was hoping for an update on our gate research. I figured I would ask Jack if there's been any report back on a gate for the entrance to Goobler Park off of Jacob.
Not a gate, but a traffic table or a speed table.
Yeah, we've done nothing towards a gate. research has only been towards like a tabletop traffic and speed bumps. And I know Brad's done some research
Yeah,
into
we've
some
seen those.
stuff that, but we have not gone down the actual.
If I remember
the
right, in the
gate.
meeting, we said we'd at least look at it and see what the cost would be. If I remember right.
I don't remember that. I remember speed tables.
Yeah, I don't
Do you
think.
remember anything, Brad?
we were-
Okay, I'll go back and watch the YouTube video and just double check, but
I know we talked about them,
yeah.
but I thought we went away from the gate and the, what do they call them? Drop down.
The arms.
Arms.
Yeah,
I remember there was some concern just to.
the tire
long-term
shredder,
of-
we opted out of the tire shredder and then went to the tabletops.
All right, I will follow up with her then. And then I attended the State of the City for Washington City today. They had it in their rec center. Went really well. I'm guessing there was, Adelaide, do you know how many were there? Like 50-ish? Just kind of give us an idea of what we might expect next week. Mary Nelson did a really good job presenting.
Did they have a video?
They did have a video that just highlighted some of the projects they had done in 2020. And then they spent half their time talking about commercial projects coming to their city, which, what was that? 45. Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot going on in Washington with the commercial stuff. But yeah, he highlighted like some substations they'd built and quite a few roads they'd finished. And some stories about their staff, things like that. So they did give out masks to everyone that came in that had the Washington City logo. That was kind of their swag, what they did. But yeah, I think, and it only went till like 12:40-ish. So you don't have to use the whole time. And I didn't sit here any grumbling from the people that were there that should have gone longer. So I think whatever you want to do, Mayor, will be good.
What we've got so far is about a 9 to 10 minute video. Christelle's taken what we did for the What's Up Down South and added some stuff to it. Probably add a little bit more between now and then. And let's see, Washington has a population about 3 times now, Clara.
Yeah, 32,000.
So I'd only have to talk for a third of the time. With a 10-minute video, that's only 6 minutes. I got this.
And he did ask for questions at the end, and no one had any questions. So if you want to ask that, you might plant some out there in the audience. If you want to make sure that someone asks a question,
Oh,
or
they'll
just
ask.
not even worry about it.
They'll have some. But no, I think the only question I had is, it's next Thursday during the day,
Next
Wednesday, excuse me. How full is the parking lot going to be, and do we have to, are we worried about, that's been my biggest worry about parking, because they usually come alone.
Right.
And with the number of staff and the police, I don't know if we can get the staff to park on Vineyard or something that day, just so that we keep the parking lot clear during the noon hour. Just make it as easy as possible so we don't get too much, problem that way. We're a little limited on parking. If you can kind of work on that with staff.
Oh, sorry. You repeat that. I
Can't read
Yep.
her lips.
no.
No, just next Wednesday during the noon hour when that State of the City address is going on, if you can kind of keep the parking lot clear for staff vehicles, have them park on the street or something, just so that we've got parking for the people that are going to be coming, the guests that'll be coming over.
Okay.
Yeah, the cop cars are all going to have to be on patrol, Bob.
Oh, why they come into the city?
Make a strong presence up to the west parking lot at Goobler Park during the noon hour on Wednesday. Of course, if you go between here and the city limits, you may catch some of these guys that are late to lunch. So, okay. Anything else, Jack?
I think I just report that I definitely left the meeting feeling like if I wanted to do business in Washington City, like they'd be welcoming of that. They would help me through the process. So I was just impressed with how they did over there, and it'll be fun to have people over here and kind of have what we're doing.
Cool.
We have a lot of business going on, so you can highlight
Oh,
that.
we do.
We do
We
have
do have a
quite the
lot of
amount.
business going on. Not quite as much as they got in Washington.
No
We got a
auto
lot.
wall, but
It's all relative to size.
That's
it
right.
is, yeah,
Okay. Anything else?
that's all.
Danny?
The only thing I have, Jack, are you available tomorrow at 11? We're meeting with the BLM here in our building to talk about the shooting sports park in the South Hill. That's all.
Thanks, Danny. Wendell?
We were supposed to have a meeting on Monday with the Washington County Waste District, but because they were going to choose a new councilman in St. George, all the St. George people were going to be there, so they postponed the meeting till the 22nd. Nothing serious. And I understand St. George had a little problem with their councilman for a while.
Yeah, so we'll probably hear about it. I just heard the rumors, but they're going to swear in a new councilman tomorrow, and it's, from what I'm hearing, it's not the one they picked on Monday. We'll wait with bated breath and see. Anything else?
No.
I got a couple of things. The League of Cities and Towns they're recommending like an NLC service line warranty program that they work in with the National League of Cities. Protects property owners from unanticipated service line repair costs. It's fairly efficient. I'll pass it on to Brock. Have you heard anything about it, Jack? Like a warranty for your water services? They recommend it. There's a contact here if we want to check into it a little bit. The mayor's call, COVID numbers are in a better place now than they were, a month ago, a week ago even. Everybody's hoping that it stays in that positive direction, and the primary interest right now is the vaccinations and lack of vaccine and angry residents. They can't get their shots. And they're opening up to age 65, I think he said on March 1st. And we've still got a bunch older than 70 that haven't got their shots. And so it may get worse. You may get approached by angry residents, because most everything bad happens our fault. But we just got to be patient and get vaccinated when the time is right and we can. So I would encourage y'all to do that and just be patient with it. Just continue to be careful, continue with the mask wearing, a lot of that. They also, Zach Renstrom was there from the Water District and talked a little bit about the water planning, and I'm asking Zach to come to a future city council meeting and kind of bring the council to speed on the current status of the projects that the Water District got going on, and what we're going to do if Lake Powell Pipeline doesn't happen. I mean, what are some of the contingencies? Just give you the opportunity to ask him questions about that and how it's going to impact future growth in the area. So hoping we can get him on the next regular city council meeting. Come and give
That's
a
our
brief
plan on the
presentation.
24th.
And then give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. So that is happening. And I think that's about all that I had. So, our staff, have you guys got anything pertinent tonight you need to talk to the council about? Chief? Bro? Anything else before we go to executive session? Okay, with that, I will thank the staff and ask for a motion from the council to go into executive session to discuss the current status of legal issues with the city claims. Is that right, Matt?
Yep.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion by Denny, a second by Jared. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?